In his speech last night, President Biden addressed the broken immigration system, but not the crisis at the border happening right now, something critics say his administration is responsible for. Instead, Biden is blaming Trump. Watch this.
When I was president, when I was vice president, the president asked me to focus on providing help needed to address the root causes of migration and to help keep people in their own countries instead of being forced to leave. The plan was working, but the last administration decided it was not worth it.
Let's bring in former DHS Acting Deputy Secretary Ken Cuccinelli. Ken, great to have you with us tonight. I want to start by getting you bet. I want to start by getting your reaction to how the president tried to navigate the immigration issue last night in his speech.
Well, honestly, I'm not sure he navigated it so much as completely sidestepped one important part of it, and that is the border crisis and everything entailed with that. Now, you know, it's important to remember that you and I look down there and we see a crisis. He sees a voter registration line. You heard him talk about H.R. 1 yesterday in the speech to encourage people to support that voting bill, which would sweep non-citizens, including illegal aliens, from state databases onto the voter rolls. It mandates it by federal law. And so we'd have literally millions of non-citizens voting in our elections, which is already a problem that we have to try to clean up, and this would make it just exponentially worse. That's what he's focused on, not fixing the border. And you make it worse by pushing the amnesty bills that he talked about during his speech before we solve the illegal immigration crisis, before we solve the security problems that he has created. It's why we call it the Biden effect. That's a very legitimate name for it.
Ken, that seems to be the pattern here. You heard him talk a lot last night about trying to address, quote unquote, root causes in the Northern Triangle countries. Those are massively complex, long-term issues. When we have an immediate situation at the border. Why do they stay on that? And did the American people buy it?
That's a great set of questions. So first of all, they stay on it as a distraction because it sounds like they're addressing the problem, but you hit it on the head. That is a decades-long problem. And we have addressed other decades-long problems with these countries in the past. From the 80s and into the 90s, we helped them get rid of their death squads to build police forces that weren't a threat to their own countries and that help maintain the peace in their countries today and do a much better job. And they actually fight crime in those countries. So we can help them solve long-term problems. But they are long-term. Root causes economically is a long-term problem. We were addressing it in the Trump administration. I am sure they'll address it in this administration, but that doesn't change the fact that they have invited a crisis at our southern border. They have created it by telling everyone we won't deport you if you come here, and throwing open the doors. And, you know, we're seeing them give tickets from the border to people without IDs to travel on planes, trains, and automobiles all around the country to reach their final destinations. The U.S. government has gone from enforcing the law against illegal immigration to facilitating human trafficking by participating in it.
Ken, we're hearing reports that the president may be open to some kind of piecemeal approach on legislation. Does that give you any comfort, or does that just mean kind of an open borders policy done in phases?
No, I'm not comfortable at all with that. That sort of a strategy is used when you can't convince enough Republicans that your idea is worthwhile. So you try to chop it up into pieces, and what you'll end up seeing is many attempts to use the budget reconciliation process to push a lot of this stuff through, because America doesn't want it. And so they have to use their very slim legislative majorities to get this radical left-wing agenda through.
Ken Cuccinelli, thank you so much. An important issue. Appreciate your perspective as always. Thank you.
Good to be with you.